Well, welcome back to the video, and in this video you are greeted with a lower half of the engine coated in engine oil. Well, what I've decided I'm going to do in this video is actually change the bottom crankshaft pulley, and that is leaking oil from the bottom of the engine that runs down onto the sump and then onto the ground. So it sounds simple, however there's a number of items that need to be removed. From the top half of the engine, the radiator needs to be removed, the fan belt, the Kenlow cooling fan needs to be removed. And when you remove those items, it creates so much space in order for you to access the bottom pulley, especially the nut, but actually working on that part of the engine. And I'm just showing you how much room is created by removing those items. Well, I peeled back the locking tab and then tried to undo the bolt without any success. I applied some heat and again without success. So I had to go back to the drawing board. I was using an impact driver without success. Speed was at a premium and I just couldn't get the bolt undone. So I decided to go back to reading on the internet and how other people have undone the bolt. I read on the internet that if you jam an extension bar against the side of the car, that you might be able to undo the bolt using the power of the starting motor. So I asked my wife which way the engine was spinning, and it's clockwise, and then I had a go at spinning the engine and trying to undo the bolt. 1, 2, 3 times the socket just spun off, but then I was greeted with success and eventually the bolt started to spin. So I honestly think this is the best way that you can remove the bottom bolt if you want to change the seal, by using the power of the starting motor to undo the bottom bolt. And it was just a matter at this point of just undoing the bolt, which you can see here. I was so happy at this point that I'd removed the bolt. Again, I'm going to have to purchase maybe a new locking tab which just folds over the bolt itself. Well, I reattached the bolt and I attached the puller onto the bottom pulley, and then as you can see I'm just winding in the puller, which is in turn removing the pulley itself. And again, it's so easy when you've got the correct tools, and it was just a matter of just winding it in and winding it, and I could see it moving, and it was just a matter of just making sure that the pulley was being removed squarely, if you could say that, on a round pulley, but it wasn't being pulled off on an angle. This is the point that you can see me removing the bottom pulley, and I was so happy at this point because I was so apprehensive that this job was gonna turn into some sort of nightmare. But I was so happy knowing that I'd got to this point and that I was in the process of and well on the way of renewing the crankshaft oil seal. Taking my grinder attached to a wire wheel, next part is really removing the rust and the underseal, and I'm saying underseal, to the bottom pulley, and it was very rewarding just seeing all the rust being removed. It was so rewarding, and you can just see there, nobody's going to see this part of the pulley because it's facing the engine. However, if you're going to do a job, it's all in the detail, and let's just do it all. So I was so happy with the results. And again, another way of rust removal is using my hand drill, and again with just a cup wire wheel extension, and it's just a massive improvement compared to before I removed the pulley. And I was one happy chap at this point, so happy with the outcome, and just there was no wear marks of where the crank oil seal sits. It just needs polishing up with maybe some autosol, but absolutely I was over the moon until this next piece of footage. So my next job was to undo the bolts to the timing cover, and just to highlight a fact, some of the bolts are different sizes. So I took my wire wheel and straight away I just went through the casing straight away, and it's riddled with rust, and I was so sad because the job was going so well. And I thought, looking at the timing case, looking inside, because I degreased the timing case, and you can see the rust eaten all the way through. So even if I try and get somebody to weld it, because it's beyond my welding skills, it's all the way through. Some people have said, why don't you have the timing case brazed? But again, I don't know who would do that. I know people who would weld it. However, it's, is there any good metal that you could weld onto, and is it really worth it? Just some bonus footage. Here we have the pedal box, and I'm just highlighting here the amount of sideways movement created by worn bushes, and moving from a car which is not even 6 months old and getting into a car which is nearly 50 years old, knowing that I can actually solve the worn or the slackness of the sideways movement of the pedals, I thought it is a job that needs to be covered and it needs to be completed. Back inside the car, I'm just showing you the amount of sideways play that we have in the pedal box, and this is all down to worn bushes, and it does spoil the driving experience when you only drive the car maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. And it was a job that was crying out, and I think I honestly think everybody can tackle this job. So a couple of years ago I purchased a refurbished pedal box with new bushes, all refurbished, all powder coated. So what I'm going to do with this pedal box is give it a lick of paint, include the bushes which I've purchased, and it's up to the next person who wants to fit this, that they can actually refurb it to their standard. If you've enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, tell friends, share it on your sites,